This happened when I was in high school. My mom just recently found the paperwork about it when she cleaned out her office upon retiring from the police department. I remember being upset and scared when it happened, but after reading the details as an adult, it sounded even worse than I remembered. I was a 17-year-old female, working at a flower and gift shop. It's nighttime. A man comes in, short, overweight, bald, 40s, and very creepy. He tells me about how he needs an apology gift for his girlfriend, so I offer it a bucket. Obviously, it's a flower shop. He says she doesn't like flowers because they die. This was the first weird thing, as he came into the flower shop. Then he goes into detail on how he hit her, and asks me if I can think he was right to do so. This was long ago, so I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something along with the lines of, "Not if you want her to continue being your girlfriend." He then tells me what a great job I'm doing, and asks when I get off work. I dodge answering. He leaves. Nothing for 6 months. Then, right before Valentine's Day, he walks into the door 1 minute before close. It was dark, and from the outside it looked like I was working alone as my coworker was in the bathroom. Instantly, it felt like a perpetrator had just entered the room. You know, when something isn't right and everything felt not right. I then notice he has a trim revolver tucked into the front of his windbreaker, which is halfway unzipped. It was obviously he wanted it seen. I quickly scribbled a note to my coworker that said he has a gun and handed it to her when she came out of the bathroom. She calmly walked to the phone and looked at me, wordlessly, asking if she could call the cops. I shook my head no, as I felt like it would escalate the situation. God forbid he heard the police coming and took us hostages or something. I was just going to try and act as calm and normal as I could, and hopefully not to tip the situation into something more dangerous. He spends 15 minutes wandering around what was a fairly small shop. In retrospect, he was probably waiting to see if my coworker would have leave, as it was now past closing. Finally, he places an order for pickup on Valentine's Day, which gave me his name and info to the police report. I'm sure as hell about to file. He buys a card and pulls out a wad of $100 bills, which he slowly thumbs through looking for the right one with which pay for his $40 order. I ask him if he wants a bag, as it wouldn't be very inconspicuous. He just showed up at home with the Valentine's card. He replies, "No, I didn't feel like bringing inconspicuous tonight," which seemed like an obvious reference to the gun hanging out of his coat. He leaves. We quickly lock the door and watch him sit in his truck outside. We were not about to exit the shop until he was gone. Finally, he pulls out of the parking spot and moves to another spot further away and continues just to sit there. I don't know how long we waited, but he finally left. I called my mom, crying. She called the police, who came to the shop the next day to take a report. I told my best friend at this when this happened. She told her mother, and her mother happened to work with the same man and informed security at her job. She said he was very weird, creepy, and liked to talk about weapons a lot. Security at his job is a large company with government contracts and things having to deal with tech and security. Pulled him into the office and questioned him about it. He claimed it was a glove in his pocket, not a revolver. The police were pissed that his company made a contract with him about it before they did, and he successfully dodged the cops' multiple calls and visits to his apartment. My mom, much to my teen fury at the time, made me quit my job, which was devastating as I love it there. In retrospect, totally the right call. Dude came on Valentine's Day and picked up his order. I never saw him again. In 1992, my wife and I had been married about a year and had previously moved into a small duplex next door to a woman, Martha, with whom she had gone to high school. I was in the service and about to redeploy to the Middle East, and it gave me a little peace of mind knowing that there was someone close by that my wife could trust. Martha and her husband had just recently divorced, and she had just begun dating a little by the time we moved in the next door. When she had a date, my wife would watch her young daughter, and this would give her a reason to check in periodically, and it cut the date short if it wasn't going well. I had returned from overseas after 11 months, and was given 30 days of leave to go home and see family. Martha had a date on one Friday evening, and as usual, my wife watched her daughter. She had checked in a couple of times, and after the last time, my wife committed that she sounded a little off, as she was worried about something. It finally got the better of her, so my wife called Martha's pager and left our number with a 911. When she called back, my wife dug into why she was acting strange, and Martha said that the guy was acting creepy and that she wasn't exactly sure where they were, but she knew the name of the bar they were in. I knew the place, and my wife told her that I would come to get her, and she agreed. We told her we'll be outside in 20 minutes. When I pull up, I saw his old Monte Carlo in the corner of the lot, but didn't see her outside. I parked next to his car and went inside to find her shoved into the boot with him, on the outside blocking her in. I walked over and said hi, as if I just happened to be there, and happened to notice her. I told her that my wife was by the bar and suggested she come and say hi. He told her don't stay gone long, and glared at me in a way that I wasn't entirely friendly. We headed straight out the door and over to my Jeep. As I started to pull out, she mentioned that he picked her up at her place and knows where she lives. I took a vivid stem tool from the glove box and removed the stems on both passenger tires, in hopes that it would give him time to get over being ditched and not pursue her any further. On the way home, she began to tell me about their night and how he got extremely handsy and creepy after her last check-in, but was acting weird beforehand. When we got back to the house, she checked her messages and had a full tape of him screaming and cussing her, accusing her for running off and fucking that musclehead wetback. At this point, she asked to sleep in her spare bedroom until she could change the locks in the next day, and of course, we said yes. Our garages were at the back of the house, with a walk-through door on the side. At some point, the same night her garage door was kicked in, her tires cut, a lot of her belongings destroyed. She told the police about the guy and from the night before, and luckily my wife had a wood drawer to write down his license plate when he picked her up. He was later questioned and subsequently arrested after they realized that this guy's car has been linked to a series of break-ins and sexual assaults in the area of a local university. But it was just described as a long, light-colored car with dark cloth top. It was a 7.7 Monte colored paint and black shin scheme. I don't have a lot of details because I went back to 29 Palms, California shortly after. But he was later convicted of the assaults and break-ins at some points after that, and Martha refused to date again for quite a while. From the look of the house, I have no doubt that he would likely killed her and possibly her child that night.